Hello everyone, welcome back to Vedic Enigma. So I hope that all of you are doing great. So in today's video, we will be talking about conjunction of Saturn with all the planets. And when we talk about conjunctions in Vedic astrology, we know that it is very important to assess the degrees of the planets, that are conjunct together because degrees matter a lot. Suppose you have two planets placed in the same house, but one planet is at 1 degrees and the other one is at 20 degrees. So it is definitely a very loose conjunction, and the impact and the effect would not be that much. So a very strong conjunction would be the one that is, within 3-4 degrees. That would be a really strong conjunction. But even if it is within 6-7 degrees, so we can consider that to be a decent, conjunction, which will, give its effects, in the sense that you will see that both the planets are influencing each other in that ways. So that is the number one thing that we need to consider when we are assessing any type of conjunction. And secondly, it is also very important to see that what are the planets, like which are the planets that are conjunct, and are they placed in a friendly sign, or are they placed in an inimical sign, or it is placed in a neutral sign. Because a lot of times it will happen that one planet is placed with a friend and it is placed in a good sign, which is a friendly sign. So that planet is very comfortable. But at certain times, you will also find that the environment in which the conjunction is happening is not conducive or comfortable for the other planet. So that is another thing which is very important to see. Like for example, if you have a conjunction of, let's say, Sun, Mars, and Mercury, okay, and so we find that Mercury and Mars are actually friendly to the planet Sun, but Mars and Mercury are very inimical to each other. They don't like each other at all. So in this conjunction, Sun is not feeling, that I would say it is not negatively affected in that way. But you will see that the significations of Mercury will suffer over here because Mars will try to damage the significations of Mercury. So like this also, you have to see that which planet is getting more comfortable, which planet is actually getting more harmed in the conjunction. And lastly, you have to see the dispositor, which is very important. Like dispositor is basically the sign in which the conjunction is happening. So where that particular sign's lord is going. Suppose Sun, Mars, Mercury conjunction is happening in the sign of Taurus, so you have to see the position of Venus. That will again tell you that how this conjunction will manifest and what will be the results, what will be the houses through which the results will be delivered. So, for example, if you find this particular conjunction happening in the ninth house, for example, for a Virgo ascendant, and you find that Venus is placed in the eighth house. So, the results of this conjunction will manifest through the eighth house. So, this is another way by which you can assess that. And but before I start with the video, I would really appreciate if you like, comment, and subscribe to Vedic Enigma. So that will really mean a lot to me. So let's begin with the video now. So we are talking about conjunction of Saturn with all the planets. And Saturn, as we know, is a planet which tends to delay things, in our life. And it is also the planet of discipline, of working hard. So it tells us that we have to put in a lot of consistent efforts in whatever we are trying to achieve. And without putting in that effort, you cannot get anything in life. So basically, there are no shortcuts to success. And it is also the planet which represents our profession. And it is basically the planet of our karma. So whatever your karma is, whatever your responsibilities are, whatever you are supposed to do in this life are controlled by this planet. And it is a planet which is highly karmic in the sense that it will give you results on the basis of what you have done in the past lives. And it will also give you results on the basis of what currently you are doing right now. So that is why the moment that you start to do some negative karma, or internally that this is a thing which I'm doing is wrong, so Saturn as a planet is getting very, heavily triggered in that situation or circumstance. And you can also see that whichever planet is conjunct Saturn, you also have a very strong, I would say Saturn has a very strong karmic grip, for you on that particular planet's significations. So, for example, if you have Venus Saturn combination, so anything that you do regarding relationships, regarding females, regarding money matters, Saturn is always watching you very stringently on those things, because you have your Venus conjunct Saturn. So this is another way to actually assess and see that which are the specific areas of your life that you have to be very, very careful about. So people with Venus Saturn combination, they have to be extra careful when they do any kind of karma regarding Venus related things. Similarly, if you have Saturn Moon combination, so you have to be extra careful, extra stringent with respect to any karmic exchange that happens between your mother and you, or any moon like signification. So this is another way to actually see that which are the areas through which you also have to work very hard in those things, because whichever planet is conjunct Saturn, it is also telling you that those things are going to be painful in life. Some kind of pain, some kind of sorrow, misery will be associated with that particular planet for sure. Because Saturn is the planet of misery, sorrows. It is a malefic planet. And it shows you that life is not always rosy. So if you imagine that, you are sitting with a person who has a very strong Saturn influence, a Mercury kind of person might just get depressed, by listening to that particular person, because they will talk about a lot of depth of life. They will talk about the true reality of life. So this is something that, this particular planet tells us that, you have to be very realistic, practical, about your life. And the planet which is conjunct Saturn, you have to be very practical about that planet also. So if suppose like you have, let's say Venus Saturn combination only, so it tells you that you have to be very realistic about relationships. You have to put in a lot of effort and hard work in that. And those things will also give you certain effects which might not be very positive, but it will also make you very tough. So at the end of the day, this planet also teaches us to be tough, how to be resilient in the most adverse situations of life. So that is the beauty of this planet, that it teaches you to be more patient. It makes you more humble. And we also know that Saturn, like servants are also seen from Saturn. So even if you study the description, if you study the personality characteristics of this planet, so you will understand that it is the planet which will make you very humble, and you will not have a lot of ego, anything which is associated with Sun. It is very opposite of that. So even with you will see that people who have a very strong Saturn, they are also the people who are very resilient in life. Like if suppose you are a Capricorn ascendant and you have Saturn very strong, so they will be the people who will actually have a lot of patience internally. They don't get irritated very quickly. So that is the I would say the true like mark of a strong Saturn. Like if it is operating positively in your chart, so you will see that you will actually be very truthful. You will be very honest about your work and whatever you do in life. And you will also be you will not get frustrated and irritated easily. So that is the beauty of this planet. Now let us talk about the different combinations, conjunctions of Saturn with all the different planets. So let's start with the planet Moon. So suppose you have Saturn and Moon combination. Now in this you have to also see the degrees again, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, because there can be a case where Saturn is having a lower degree and Moon is having a higher degree, or Moon is having a lower degree and Saturn is having a higher degree. So when Moon is having a lower degree, it is actually approaching Saturn. And if it suppose has a higher degree, then it has already crossed Saturn. So you will see that the time when Moon has a lower degree and it is approaching Saturn, so that mind, because Moon represents our mind, it also represents our mother. So those things are getting more impacted by the effect of Saturn. And you will see that any kind of thought, any kind of feeling, emotion that you feel is governed by the planet Moon. So when you have Saturn Moon combination, and if it is suppose happening within 5-6 degrees, let's say it's a strong combination. So you will see this combination very strongly drives up your emotions. Such people, either they face so much turmoil mentally, there is so much of pain or agony, something in their life which has been a very chronic thing which has been carried forward, through a very long time, because of which they don't know sometimes how to express their emotions properly and they become very numb about things. So this is an observation which you will see with people who have Saturn Moon combination. And Saturn also as a planet is very deep, it is telling you about the reality of life. So all the time, mind is actually very, like it is always going towards the dark. Like something is there that you always get more drawn towards things which are connected to sadness, which are connected to misery or pain of others, or something which is more pessimistic in nature. Because Saturn also as a planet makes the person very pessimistic, or always some negative thoughts or anything which is very low, kind of a thing is getting drawn towards the mind. So that is why with this combination, you have to be very careful, like with respect to, how you are dealing with your things emotionally, how you're dealing with things mentally. And it is very important that they should always keep working and mind should always be occupied with something fruitful, because Saturn is also a very laborious kind of a planet. It likes to wake up every day at the same time. It likes to go to work. It needs to have a disciplined life. That is very important. So with Saturn and Moon combination, my only advice would be that lead a very disciplined life, lead a very routine oriented life. And the more you will work and be fruitfully occupied in things, the less, mental tension or negative thoughts, will come to the person's mind. And with this combination, we also see that Saturn also represents your nature of work. What is the kind of profession you will have? What is the kind of karma that you are, there to achieve? So it really shows that such people can also have karma which is connected with the pain of other people, emotions of other people. Like they have to either provide some emotional healing to other people. So they can also be healers, psychologists, counselors, because constantly they are absorbing that, thing from others. And it also indicates with this that the karma that they have with the mother is very pronounced. They should definitely have and do a lot of seva for the mother or for any motherly like figure, or whichever planet, whichever house, sorry, moon controls in their chart. So it also indicates that. And with this, they should also be very careful with respect to food wastage, because moon also represents your food. So they have to be careful, like they should not waste food, they should not waste water. So anything, any resource which is connected to moon. And their karma can like, or their karma will also take them to different places, because moon also represents different places, change of home and traveling to different places. So it indicates that the karma, the nature of the work or nature of the karma is such that they will travel to different places, they will see and explore different countries. Their work can also be connected to moon, which is connected to food, hospitality, or it can be something like an import export thing also, or in which they just have to travel and there is a lot of touring that happens. So something like that could also be a good option for them, or they could be involved with something like that. But the downside is that because this is a very opposite kind of a conjunction, moon is a very fast paced planet and you are putting moon with Saturn, which is the slowest planet. So there is a constant clash that happens, and because of which it can also indicate that changes and fluctuations can occur in the person's nature of work. Their job can change very frequently, very quickly. So all these things you will observe with Saturn and Moon combination. Moving to the next combination, which is Saturn and Sun combination. So like we know that this combination is also quite inimical, because Sun is the father of Saturn in astrology, and they don't like each other. So there is a lot of enmity that happens with this combination also. So we know that. Sun in astrology represents our father. It represents the soul, and it is a planet which is of authority, of confidence, leaderships. All these things are seen from Sun. And Saturn as a planet has qualities, nature quite opposite of Sun. Like if Sun is the light, it is a very bright planet. Saturn represents darkness. It represents the night. So it's a very, again, a very opposite kind of a combination. And with this combination also, you will see that there is a constant friction, there is a constant clash that keeps happening in the person's either professional life or clashes happening with the person's father. So with this conjunction, especially if you have any malefic aspect or malefic planets join this combination like Rahu, Ketu, Mars, so you will see that such people can also get into troubles with authority, with people who are represented by the sun. Sun also represents the government. So there is a constant ego clash or something is there which is kind of creating a friction between these people and all the people represented by sun. You will also find this combination in the charts of people who are doing work connected with the government, or they are in a very important role, they are a very important personality. So they are a public figure. So something like that can also be possible with this because sun represents the limelight, it represents the place where all the eyes are on you. And Saturn represents your karma, the nature of your work. So it shows that with this combination, and especially if it is a strong combination, happening in a good sign. So it indicates that the person's work can be such that you can get a lot of visibility, name, and fame for your work, whether good or bad, but it shows that your work will shine or people will notice your work. And because Sun also represents father and Saturn, as we know, it is a very cold planet. It is a planet which shows that, kind of misery, sorrow, pain, grief. So some kind of a pain, grief, sorrow can also be associated with things represented by Sun. And with this, you can also see the house that Sun controls in your chart. So with respect to that house also, you can experience something like this. And with this combination, also see that it also shows that the qualities, characteristics of the person's father can be like Saturn because Sun is conjunct Saturn. So it shows that the person's father can be very disciplined, can lead a very routine oriented life, can be very serious, very practical, realistic kind of a person, and can also be a person who, has a lot of patience and is very humble in life. So all Saturn related qualities you will find in the person's father. And Sun is also the karak of our soul, of our immunity. So with this combination, it is also seen that some bones related problems can also happen with these people. And or something in their immunity can also be affected with this because Saturn at the end of the day is a malefic planet. And it is also the karak of the sixth house. It is also the karak of the 12th house. So things like that can be connected to Sun. But it definitely shows that, with this, the kind of karma that they have connected with the father, with the government, with people of authority is very huge. So they have to be very careful whenever they are dealing with people represented by the sun. Because anytime that they try to do anything wrong over there or they try to mistreat people, connected to sun, so it can cause serious repercussions for them. So, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, also, it is very important that whichever planet is conjunct Sun, it shows that you have a lot of pending karma to do with that planet. So, you have to put in extra effort, you have to be very humble, and you have to be like Saturn because there is a lesson which is associated, connected with that planet, which Saturn is trying to teach you. And that is the reason why you have, gotten this conjunction in this life. So with this, you can also see that the dispositor of this combination, like where exactly that planet is placed. So it shows that the results of this combination will get manifested through that house. So that is another way to look at it. And in this, we also see that because Sun also represents name and fame, it is the planet of success, it's the planet of confidence. So, to achieve all of those things, these people also have to be more like Saturn. They have to put in a lot of effort, they have to be disciplined, and there are no shortcuts basically, to achieve all the things connected to Sun. And if you want to achieve all the Sun related things, you have to adopt the positive things of Saturn. So, that is again the lesson that they have to learn in this life. So let's now move to the next conjunction, which is Saturn and Venus combination. So Saturn and Venus conjunction, you will see that it is considered a good combination from a materialistic point of view because we see that in the original Kal Purush Kuntli, Saturn represents naturally the 10th house and the 11th house. And Venus, we know that it is ruling the second house, which is the sign of Taurus, and the seventh house. So second house and 11th house, both are the planet, both are the houses that are connected to wealth, that are connected to income, it is connected to money. And so this is a combination which naturally indicates that, it indicates good money. It is a materialistic combination in that sense. And it also indicates that whenever these people get married or they get into a relationship or any Venus related thing happens in their life, so they do get some kind of a good news in terms of their profession, career also. So career, profession, and you can say marriage, relationships go hand in hand, so both of them are quite interlinked together. And we see that whenever these people get married, they actually get a lot of good success. They get good name and fame, reputation increases, post marriage with this combination. And this is also the combination which you will find in a lot of charts of people who are working in the banking sector, working in the finance sector, or they are doing work connected to Venus. Because Venus is not just limited to creativity or beauty, arts, it can represent those things as well. But it also indicates money. It is also the original second house. It is also ruling the sign of Taurus. So Taurus is connected to banks, it is connected to finance, it is also connected to anything to do with your family, because second house is also resources, family, it is also jewelry, for example. And these people can also be working in maybe an event planner, wedding, planner, something like that. So again, a karma or something which is strongly connected to females or to, weddings, marriages, etc. So basically, with this combination, we see that there is a lot of karma which they naturally attract in life, which is connected to Venus. So Venus represents again your wife if you are a male. It also represents females, your girlfriends, or just any people that, like you, any girl in your life is also Venus. And you can also look at houses that Venus naturally rules in your chart. So that will also give you a better idea. And with this, it also indicates that, in marriage, in relationships, for it to work, they have to lower down their ego. That is another lesson behind this combination because Saturn has an energy which is very opposite of Sun, you know. And we also see that Saturn gets exalted in the sign of Libra, which is actually ruled by Venus. So, and both of them are friendly to each other. So, this is a very friendly combination in that sense. But it also shows that if you have to improve your relationship, if you have to improve your marriage prospects, you have to work very hard in life. The moment that these people start activating their Saturn, they actually start getting the money, they actually start getting the desired proposal for them. Everything starts to happen in place when they improve their Saturn you know and if suppose you want to improve your career with this, you have to improve your marriage, you have to improve your Venus, you have to make your wife happy and you have to put in more effort in relationships because both of them are quite interlinked together. And with this combination, we naturally see that because Venus also represents things that you like, things that you're naturally attracted towards. So they naturally are attracted towards maturity. They are naturally attracted towards discipline, towards having a routine, towards being traditional. Because Saturn as a planet, represents these things at its core. So even if you are a male or a female, you will see that you naturally get attracted to people who are elder in age, so that is again Saturn. Or you want somebody who is mature, sensible, traditional, not somebody who is very frivolous or Mercury like, so again, they like a more slower pace of life. They like old music, old songs, anything which is more old, for them that is gold. So that is again a thing which you will observe with this combination. But it is a beautiful combination, and we see that they actually are able to accumulate more money as they age, as they grow in life. Their money also rapidly increases, but with time, because again, they have to be consistent with respect to those things. So moving to the next combination, which is Saturn and Mercury combination. So like we know that Mercury is again the planet which has characteristics very opposite of Saturn. If Mercury is a child, Saturn is an old person. So you can imagine that again there is a friction which comes upon in this combination also. because Mercury wants everything fast. It cannot wait, it is very quick-witted, and Saturn is a very slow planet. So whenever this kind of a combination occurs, firstly, you will see that significations of Mercury over here suffer more. Because out of the two also we see that Mercury is a benefic planet naturally and Saturn is a natural malefic planet. It can be a benefic for your Lagna also, but naturally if you see it is a malefic planet. So over here it tries to make Mercury more dull, in that sense that Mercury is education, Mercury is your fun in life, Mercury is anything which makes you more curious, which makes your mind more sharper. So again, with this combination, it tends to make the person very forgetful, because it is impacting, it is negatively influencing the things represented by Mercury. It can make the education more slower for the person. It can make the learning more slower. So like there are some people who take a lot of time to understand a concept. It takes them maybe 3 days to complete one chapter. So something like this you can observe. Even when it comes to their work, because Mercury is also the Karak of the 10th house. So it shows that there are some people who immediately come into the company and within a month they are able to learn everything. So that could be like a Mercury Rahu combination. But with Saturn and Mercury combination, it can take them a lot of time, like a lot longer to learn those kind of things. And it can also delay the person's education, or it takes them a lot of time to actually complete their degree. So something like this also you can see with this. And we also see that over here, Mercury is the karak of our nervous system, of our skin, of our memory, so all of these things will also get somewhere impacted by the influence of Saturn. And Mercury also shows that your communication skills, how well you are able to communicate with people. And Saturn is natural karak of, our work, of our karma, and what we are here to do. So it shows that such people can actually be involved with things connected to Mercury, like they can be into business, they can do their own thing also because Mercury also represents business. It also represents teaching or anything in which there is a lot of data analysis involved or anything which is connected to communication related work. So they can also be doing work connected to those things. But it definitely shows that with respect to education learning, the person can be a bit lazy, like they are not very proactive about all of those things, and somewhere it does not interest them so much to study more, to learn more, to read more, because Mercury naturally represents these things and Saturn is kind of making it more slower. So the more stronger you will see this combination happens, the better, like the stronger results you will experience, of this combination. And with this, we also see that, on the positive side, they can be interested to learn or to be more interested towards things connected to Saturn. Like Saturn represents things which are ancient, things like history, archaeology, like how something was invented. So something like that can, be of a real interest to them because their Mercury gets more activated with respect to these kind of things. You will also find this combination in the charts of people who are lawyers, who are doing some administration related work or who are into the HR department. So they are doing some work which is again connected to Saturn. So something like that also you can observe with this. And Saturn also represents, your elder brother in Brigu. So you can see with this that the elder brother can also be doing some work connected to Mercury, or they can have a lot of characteristics, traits connected to Mercury. So that is another observation which you can see with this. But with this, you can also observe that when these people are quite young, they could have some issues connected to speech or connected to, like things connected to hearing also. So that can also be affected with this. Like some children, they speak very late, or they have some problems reading things, or like not exactly reading, but comprehending things, the way that other students are able to comprehend. So certain problems related to learning can also happen with this combination. So moving to the next combination, which is Saturn and Mars combination. So again, we see that Mars and Saturn are quite inimical to each other and they don't like each other at all. And Mars again is a very fast-paced, very rough, blunt kind of an energy, So again, very opposite of Saturn. And Mars cannot wait for anything, So it is a very hot-headed planet. And it shows, your aggression and it shows, your assertiveness. And Saturn is a very cold planet in that sense, and it is showing you to be more patient. So again, with this, there is a constant struggle, there is a constant challenge that comes, in the person's life, and they both are quite malefic planets. So firstly, if you find this combination happening in your chart, and so whichever house this combination is happening, that house itself has two malefic planets, firstly, occurring. So it shows that some signification of that house, can naturally get, some kind of a suffering for sure, because two malefic planets are occupying that house. So some kind of a turmoil, pain, some harshness is there in that house. So some fights can also be there in that house. So for example, if this combination occurs in the third house, so it is a very easy prediction that you can make that, the relation that they have with the neighbors or people who are, they are surrounded by would not be that cordial. There is again like always some friction, there is always some argument that keeps happening, because third house is the house of your neighborhood, third house is the house of people that you meet while traveling, so again there is too much maleficness coming in that house. So every time they travel some problem is coming, every time they have some interaction with neighbor they are getting violent. So things like that you will observe in that house also. And because Saturn, like we know that it is the planet of our profession, of our karma. So it firstly shows that such people, like their karma is connected to Mars. So Mars firstly represents things connected to real estate, things connected to property. Younger brother is also seen from Mars. And it is the planet which shows, your blood. It is a planet which shows that any challenging situation in life is seen from Mars. So where you have to be very courageous, you have to take action. So that is why this combination is very good to take action. Like you will find these people very action oriented. They don't wait for things to just happen. When they know that they have to act, they act. Because over here, Saturn is a slow planet, but Mars always pushes Saturn to act. And that is why you will find these people can actually do very well in things connected to Mars. Like if suppose they join the army, they join the police, they are a surgeon, they are doing any work connected to military, or they are an engineer or a dentist or a gym expert. So all these things are seen from Mars, or sports, for example, property, real estate. Like they naturally have an inclination, or they have some karma to pay back, to these people, or like things connected to these things. So they should definitely explore all Mars related things for sure, because that is one way through which you can somewhere balance out this combination. Like it helps to put your Saturn more at ease. And otherwise, you will see that there is a constant struggle which keeps happening in the person's life. And such people can also be very, I would say, aggressive in their actions, because, or in their karma, So if, like, suppose the energy is not channelized in that proper direction, they can also be, quite hot headed with respect to things in life. And with this, they should also exert a lot of their energy, or they should regularly exercise or involve themselves in something which is making their energy go out, basically. Like that is very important with this combination. And with this, we also see that it naturally makes the person a bit, prone to cuts, injuries, and all of these kind of things also. Because again, like it's a natural malefic combination which occurs, and it tends to make the person more, prone to such things, and also a bit quarrelsome, naturally. So these are some of the things which you will observe. And another observation with this combination, that with respect to professional life also, initially it is a bit challenging with this combination, because again, both of these planets don't go hand in hand, So and with Mars, you can expect things like frustration is there, with respect to the job, or there is some harassment that is happening, or there is a lot of power politics, like something like that happening. So all Mars related things are getting more activated whenever such a person goes to the workplace. So they can also feel more angry at the workplace, or they can have a lot of fights and arguments with people at the workplace, or they have people who are quite Martian in nature at the workplace, so quite dominating kind of people. So those are the kind of challenges which can come their way, when they start working. So again, to balance out those things, also they have to be very much involved with things which balances out this energy. So moving to the next combination, which is Saturn and Jupiter combination. So, like we know that Jupiter is a planet which is a planet of wisdom. It is a very knowledgeable planet, and it always guides us, what is the best for us, and it's a naturally benefic planet. So when Saturn and Jupiter, both of these planets combine, firstly, it shows that in whichever house this combination is happening, there is a lot of responsibility, there is a lot of delay, not denial, but delay, which is there in that house for sure. Because this is a very heavy combination which is occurring. Jupiter itself is also a very heavy planet. Saturn is a very slow moving planet. And when both of them are coming together, it shows that that house, whichever that house is, has a lot of, not only karmic things connected to that house, but it also has a lot of focus of your life will go in that house for sure. Your entire life will somehow be revolving around that house. And anytime something good has to happen, that house's involvement must be there, in the person's life. And we have seen with this that, Jupiter represents things which are connected to the divine, which are connected to religion, to God, to spirituality. So their karma or their nature of work can firstly be connected with something like Jupiter, like they can be into teaching. They can, even if they are not a teacher or a professor, they can, whatever the nature of the work is, it can be connected to advising in some way. It can be connected with knowledge in some way, where they have to be in that position where they have to constantly read, they have to be updated with what is happening, or they have to mentor somebody. So something like Jupiter influence will be there for sure in their work. And with this, we also see that the more they are educated, the more they are knowledgeable, the more degrees they have, because Jupiter represents all of these things, the better their profession becomes, So somewhere it indicates that directly or indirectly, having a strong Jupiter is beneficial for the person's profession. And they are also, they have that ability in them, that potential in them to be in a job which is very high status, or has like a lot of high respect in the society. So they can be doctors, they can be lawyers, or they can be maybe involved in a work which is very intellectual, or at a very senior position where people are respecting them. So that is a kind of designation position they can have, through this combination. And we also see with this combination that Jupiter represents things, people who are your advisors, people who are coming in your life to bless you, to guide you in a better way. And with this, you can find that through your career, through your work, you can get a lot of Jupiterian type of people also. So the moment these people start working hard in life, their Jupiter naturally gets better. So if you feel with this combination that you feel very stuck in life, you feel that destiny is not supporting me, so maybe you have to work very hard. You have to work more than what you're doing, because the more better you keep putting your Saturn to work, the better your Jupiter also becomes. And Jupiter's blessings are very important for anything in life, be it marriage, be it children, be it getting that job, So without Jupiter's blessings, nothing can happen. So that is the reason why with this combination, it is always advised that you have to keep working hard, you have to be disciplined, you have to lead a very routine oriented life, you have to be patient. So if you improve your Saturn in these ways, so Jupiter naturally improves with this. And also with this combination, we find that there is a lot of heavy responsibilities, duties that you have to do regarding that house. So, for example, if suppose this is happening in the seventh house, so when it comes to selecting the right person for you, or when it comes to anything connected to marriage, they have to be extra careful. Like what is the kind of karma that they are doing? because anything connected to the seventh house is actually being very strongly governed, by these two planets now. So Saturn is also having a very strong eye on you, on what kind of karma you're doing, and Jupiter is also there. So you have to be extra careful regarding that particular house. And also, I have seen naturally that wherever this combination goes, in whichever house, there is a lot of extra hard work that the person naturally has to do. Things don't happen just like that. Things don't happen quickly, things don't happen easily. They have to put in like two times, three times more effort than what maybe another person might be putting in. So, that is also something which goes with this. And also with this, you will find this combination naturally makes the person very wise also. The more they age in life, the better their wisdom becomes. So the better their knowledge becomes and the better their level of, I would say, position, the reputation they have in the society, that also improves a lot whenever they, like it actually happens late. So this is a combination, one of the combination which shows that success comes a bit late to them, especially after 35, 36, you can expect this combination to start giving its true results. So if you are in your 20s and you're thinking this combination is not working, it would work late. But it is a beautiful combination to have, because I'll tell you, like, if you read the Kalpurush Kundi also, Jupiter naturally represents the ninth house. It represents your bhagya, luck, and Saturn represents the 10th house. So it is a combination of the natural ninth house and the 10th house. So, which we also call as Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga. So, that is the reason why this combination in itself is a very strong, powerful combination to have. But it's just that things happen late with this. But there is a lot of success which definitely comes with this combination. So, moving to the next combination, which is Saturn and Rahu combination. So, Rahu, as we know, it is a shadow planet and it represents things connected to technology, things connected to photography, for example, things connected to foreign. So, anytime this combination happens, firstly, it shows that the person's karma, the person's nature of work is such that it should involve or can involve the involvement of Rahu. And if it involves involvement of Rahu, it is very good for them. So suppose, and Rahu is not just foreign country, foreign lands, it can also be some work which is connected to technology. It can also be work which is connected to photography, for example, like any work which you're doing with a camera, for example, YouTube. So all of this is also Rahu. So you have to see that every planet has a lot of significations. Some person might be, doing some work connected with criminals, in forensic department, or things in which, you have to be very artificial in some way, or you have to be in the public, you have to be in the limelight. So all of these professions and work are again connected to Rahu. So it can be any of them. So if it is involving, such significations, it is very good for them. And it shows that when it comes to their profession, their karma, they have to think big, because Rahu is a very ambitious planet. It is a go-getter kind of a planet. So they should never think small, in terms of their profession, in terms of their aspirations, and they should always have very infinite aspirations. So if they try to, put their Saturn to a positive Rahu, this combination is not at all a bad combination. But if suppose you find with this combination that you are getting cheated in your work, you are getting fearful of your work, or some negative Rahu like things are happening with respect to your work, then this combination is, happening negatively. So there are also instances where you will see this combination, is not operating in its best way. So it really depends on the strength of Rahu also. So Rahu's strength is mainly assessed by the dispositor. So you have to see how strong and how well placed the dispositor is. But if it is operating in a positive manner, this combination can make the person go global also. It has that potential to take the person's karma to an international level, because it is showing that Rahu has no limits, it is infinite. And Saturn is your karma, Saturn is your work. So it takes you to foreign countries, it takes you to, places where you have not even imagined to be. So that is a kind of, I would say, level at which it can go. And but with this, you have to really work on your thinking, because Rahu is also a planet which thinks from the mind. So you have to be strategic in your work. You have to think a bit cleverly. You have to find, certain things to make your work easy. You have to work smartly, basically. So that becomes a very important aspect if you want to succeed professionally with this combination. And we also see that, Rahu is a planet of illusion also. It gives you confusion also. So at certain times, you will also find this person's career trajectory can be very confusing, or they can take sometimes wrong decisions in their work. They can be misleaded in the work. So that is also a possibility. So again, you have to be very sharp. You have to be very careful with this combination. And both of them are very dark planets. They are sort of like connected with the darkness, connected with the night. So any kind of unethical activities also get very highly activated with this combination. So they have to be very careful, what they have to keep the Saturn very right, because Rahu as a planet has a tendency to actually show you ways, which might not be the right ways for you, which might be unethical things. But you have to, you have to be very clear, you have to be very decisive, that conjunction now, which is Saturn and Ketu conjunction. So, like we know that Ketu is the planet of detachment, it is the planet of moksha, so it has nothing to do with the materialistic things. And Saturn is the planet of your karma, of your nature of work, of your profession. So with this combination, firstly, we see that the person's immediate, like thought of mind, immediate reaction to work is to escape, to leave it. Because Ketu always tries to make you leave things. It always tries to make you more detached from things. So if this is not operating in the right manner, so you will see these people always want to leave things. They leave things unfinished, or they just want to leave the job. So that dissatisfaction or that thing of just letting it go is very strongly connected with this combination. But if they are doing some work connected to Ketu, in which Ketu is very strongly getting utilized, then it does not show this kind of a tendency. So I've also observed a lot of charts of people, and for some, I have seen that it is working very beautifully. It has not given them any problems because they are doing work which is connected to Ketu. Like Ketu shows you things which are very, microscopic in nature, things which have a lot of detailing involved, things which are very complex in nature and not very easily understood. So something like research, for example, something connected to physics, something connected to data analysis, or things connected to law. So all of these things are Ketu like things. And Ketu is also a healer, so it can also be work connected to Ayurveda, healing, or anything which is to do with seva, social service, NGOs. All of these are Ketu related things. So if you want to do work connected to these kind of things, it's a very good combination to have. And it shows that the person's natural, I would say, internal soul feels very happy when you give away things more with this combination. So I have seen such people are very philanthropic in nature also. They want to do something for the society. They want to really help people. They want to do something for animals. So for those kind of works, it is a very good combination to have. And Ketu is also the planet of your past. So it shows whatever things you have done in the past. And it shows that with this, there is a possibility that the person can be doing a work which maybe they did in the past also, but they left it due to some reason. And again, they are reworking on that particular thing. So it can be in any past life, but it shows that some thread of the past is very strongly connected to their karma, to their nature of work. And there could be something in their life that they are very, very passionate about. They really maybe just wanted to do something for dogs, for example. They just wanted to do something for widows, for example. So some kind of a passion project can also be there, which is a very important part of their life. And they should definitely pursue that because it shows that the moment they start doing work connected to that thing which they feel is internally calling them, the better their Ketu becomes, So you have to really, with this combination, it can also be a very peaceful combination to have, like it can make your life very stress free also. If you understand, that the work that you have to do, it should come from within. It should not have you should not have any expectations with this combination from your work. So if the person is able to do work in that way, that they are truly dedicated to their work, they are truly internally passionate about their work, and it's not looking like they're doing it for the money or they're doing it for the status. So when they start leaving all of these things, materialistic Rahu like things from their life, then this combination actually becomes very calm. But with this combination, the more materialistic you are, the more aspirational or like ambitious or that thing you have because you want to achieve something materialistic, then this combination does not work in that way. So that is something you have to always keep in mind. And with this, the more charity, the more donations they keep doing, the more seva they keep doing in their life alongside their work, the better, I would say internally they would feel. Because this combination can also indicate breaks in the profession, because Ketu is the natural planet of breaks. It is also the planet of obstacles. So, like I said, that it can make the person leave their job, it can make the person frustrated. So, the only way to calm down this Ketu is that you have to do work connected to Ketu in some way. So, some part of your life you have to devote to Ketu related causes. Then only this combination, then gives you that peace. But again, here's the thing, that just because I said it, you start doing it, it does not make it happen like that. It has to come from within. The moment you start to realize that calling, you start to realize that purpose, then only this combination truly works in the best possible way. So that is also something you have to keep in mind with this. So these were all the combinations of planets with Saturn. And I hope that you learned something new from this. And if you have any comments or anything you want to ask, you can ask that in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and see you all the next time.